I have been muted this whole time. All right. So for those of you watching the recording, I was just talking for a while and we'll backtrack. But this is our schedule for today, which I'm sure you've all just been looking at right now. And I'm gonna just give you a quick overview. I know that many of you know me already, but this is my contact information. If you'd like to reach out for questions or anything after, or show me the cool project that you've made. I'm an Adobe certified educator and all the things, but video really is my specialty. And so I love doing Premiere and After Effects workshops. So I'm thrilled to be here today. I also work in the industry as a DP, AD, VFX editor, and colorist. And I have been teaching in the classroom, but also on set for a very long time. And actually, I was just telling Angel, I'm presenting at Nickelodeon on Wednesday. Found out this morning. That's very exciting as well. I work full time at Occidental College as their director of digital media and production. And I also run my own talent agency at Pandium Fusion. So I list all these things because they are all involved in social media and marketing and promotion. And so, like with all these things, I also run our Oxy Instagram social media stuff. So we do all of our events, promotion, publicity, and I use that to teach my students as well. Like, how do you hashtag well? What are some software applications that we can use to make it even better? And then, obviously, for our agency, we promote our clients and all of their good work that they're doing. And we also teach them how to brand themselves a little bit better. So, I'd like to hear from you. First, also, what is your name? But then social media experience. So if you don't have any, that's totally fine. You can just start from the beginning. But if so, what platforms have you used and for what? So I will start. Lots of use of social media, primarily Instagram. I have a social media manager for TikTok because that is not as much my jam. But Facebook because that was invented when I was in college. And so that was like very trendy. If you watch the movie, that was like all happening when I was in school as a freshman. So Facebook first, then Instagram, was on Twitter for a while because there's a huge education community of teachers on Twitter. They have like EDU Tuesday chats where everybody like live chats. But then when that changed to X, then we tried to move over to Threads. Not a lot of people made it. And so now we've kind of like lost that text-based community a little bit. But I would say my main stuff, Instagram and LinkedIn are mainly where I'm at now, just because I use that a lot for work. And then I also teach a lot of social media stuff. So, Angel, would you like to introduce yourself and answer the question?
It's a good BuzzFeed content creator, so I was one of the first people to have Instagram Reels. So that was pretty cool. Been on TikTok. I was one of the first paid people to be on TikTok for our Pride campaign that they launched in like 2019, 18. And I've been doing social media for just a really long time. But Instagram's my main platform. I was a Twitch live streamer for a while. I've done YouTube videos. I'm still on Twitter or X, but that's just more for like unhinged thoughts. And then I was on Facebook at one point. It's mostly there for like family now.
Yes.
I'm very inclined to delete it.
Though I'll also say if you are in the film industry, Facebook out of all of them is probably the best because there's a bunch of Facebook groups specifically for getting crew people. Yes. That is the main reason I still have my Facebook. Very cool.
That or whatever ladies that in terms of social media, I guess I would divide it with personal and work use. My personal use has mainly been well, Facebook growing up. Also it's where I have like either long distance friends or like kind of like family. I don't use it, but I tend to go into it every once in a while just and
So you're like one of the silent stalker people.
sure. I used to be a big Tumblr girl.
Mm.
So I use Tumblr quite a bit, but then it kind of died out, and now I use mainly Instagram and TikTok, but just to watch, not to use it. And then for work, I do have an Instagram for my cat, and I tried doing a TikTok, but it didn't end up working out well. And then for work, I do use all of those, as well as LinkedIn and X. And I don't personally like it that much, but it is where the community is.
Yeah. Well, hopefully maybe after today we can monetize your cat.
Because she's very expensive, so I should putting in the work to the family.
Yes. Yeah, my friend bought a Shiba Inu, which firstly was very expensive and is just like a very expensive dog to maintain and has such like an ungrateful attitude. I'm like, why do you spend so much money on this person? And like I just sent him in a reel this morning that was a Shiba that was like, give me attention, give me attention. And it was like laying there and then you like reach out to pet it and it looks at you like, no, too much. And I'm like, that yes is basically a cat.
So my cat is cute, so she wasn't expensive that way, but she's expensive to maintain.
Yes.
But she hates the camera. So like every time I try to like monetize her, she just hates it. I'm just like, oh, I miss her today. She's very cute.
No, we'll have to like set up a little side toy with a hidden camera. Awesome.
The only time I touch Facebook is for Facebook groups, race things.
That is the big thing people use Facebook for is the birthdays. Gosh, I just like spouted more gray hair when you said that.
But yeah, and I was very obsessed with Vine.
Mhm. Yay, what about?
Oh, what about?
Yes. No. What are your TikTok videos about?
I just started, but it's a fashion agency. So
Mm.
I'm in fashion edits right now, and I'm like, get up the day.
That's super fun. One of my actors just got a collab offer with a fashion brand, and I'm helping him shoot his fashion TikToks for the clothes. And it is like that very cheesy of like holding it up and then like doing the jump, and then you're wearing it now. Yeah.
And then it's like for a well brush, there's a different outfit, why it's on there.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Is that why you're in the After Effects class?
Nah, I just want to do that. I just want to do that.
Yes, no, as you should. Take advantage of like all the things. Awesome, welcome.
I use Instagram mostly. I just to update my life and try to get up with friends. And so I use for work. Because I work as a Mandarin copywriter before, so I manage like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube with the designers. Yeah. Because I'm from Taiwan, so like I want to start my YouTube channel to like to record my life in the US, in LA, USC, yeah, but I haven't started.
Yay, I would follow that. I had a really successful student during COVID that just started filming her life every day. And I thought it was like cute. And I was like, this is like good storytelling. Cause it would be like, I'm getting out of bed now. And then it like films the floor and it's like, ooh, furry slippers with a heart. And she like never showed herself. It was just all like POV. And then it was like making some coffee and she would just like type it out in a cute font at the bottom. And then it would be like ASMR of her pouring the coffee. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay. By the end of the semester, she had 1.2 million followers. And I was like, how are there just so many people fascinated by watching somebody else's day to day? And it was like watering my plants, happy little plants. And had sponsorships, like people sent her products to put in the videos. And was then doing like paid advertising by the end of the semester. And she's like, I was worried about getting a job with a media degree, and I already am making more than my dad does. It's like, it's so random of just like, oh, I think that I'll make content of just how that can explode. Yeah,
I love slicing.
I know. And I was just like, oh, I mean, and I was like, oh, that's like a good idea to maintain your sanity during quarantine. And I was like, oh no, people are very into this. And I think that it was very timely too, because yeah, like everybody's just sitting at home watching, I guess, other people sit at home. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk first before we get creating about why this is important. So social media, a quarter, this is actually a metric, a quarter of the average of people spending time online is spent on social media. So there has been lots of studies and records about this, but if you imagine that even seems low compared to like my friend circle, but I guess we're also counting old people that might not spend as much time on social media. Though weirdly enough, my dad is 84 and spends like half of his time on social media, doesn't actually have any updates himself, so is kind of like a lurker. But we'll just like scroll through and see what everybody else in the world is up to. And he's like, oh, it's because most of my friends that live nearby are dead now. And I was like, Dad, that's very depressing. And he's like, but this is like a good way that I feel like I'm connected to people that I might have known back in the day. And I was like, well, do you ever talk to them, or do you just like look at their social media? And then he's like, sometimes I make a comment. And I was like, but I just like love that it's changed so much where like we think about this as a young people's thing of like doing Twitter and Instagram, TikTok, but there's more and more older people that I talk to who have totally adopted social media and spend a lot of their time online. And that you have the potential to spread your message really far, wide, and rapidly. Has anybody had anything go viral? Kind of, sort of. What was it? Of what? Yeah. What about you?
Depends on what I've had like controversies go like viral like during like I once got banned on Twitch for being heterophobic, which is not a word.
Okay.
And so that went viral on Twitch, and then Twitch apologized to me personally and reinstated my account. I made a one on TikTok one time that was like 1.2 million views or something like that.
Wow.
Nothing
What
like
was that?
super.
What did you make?
It was just a really dumb, like it was like Lizzo playing the flute, but it was me pretending to play the flute, and I had to do a Pokemon. It was just very niche. But it was but yeah, I've done content for a while.
Yeah.
Hits and misses.
Yeah, I was gonna
Misses.
say, like the trend of like how this is always like every class I teach that's in is like, oh, what have you made that has gone viral? And most people will preface with like, it was really dumb. But that's the thing, is like it doesn't have to be this life-changing message, and oftentimes those are much harder to spread far and wide. But it's like what is catchy where people are like, that's dumb, and then they'll reshare. And so it's like, what can you make that is going to appeal to somebody? And I like how you mentioned niche, because you're not trying to make a message that everybody on the internet is going to like. You're trying to make something that a small audience is going to really identify with in a way that they are going to engage with it and reshare it with somebody else. And so you have the potential to spread your message really far and wide and rapidly. Like, I've had one of my clients wake up the next day and they're like, I posted something and there has been 200,000 views since yesterday. And that's like exciting, but also imagining like 200,000 people just randomly watching my dumb thing that I made on the subway is like, what is the internet? And then the last thing is you have an ability to target specific audiences. Have any of you done paid social media? Like ads through Meta? How does that work?
Oh, through like Meta specifically?
Well, or just anything. I was giving Meta as an example because now you can do Meta and it'll do Facebook and Instagram ads all together.
Yeah. I've done like Instagram ads where like they'll ask you like 3 different categories to fit in and like what kind of age range are you trying to get into, and then like areas of the world and stuff like that. So like they ask you like a bunch of stuff, and then it costs money. So I don't do it a lot.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
Were you raising your hand? Did you do it for your previous companies?
But, yeah. Like, maybe their preference, what they like, maybe the categories are like community or traveling, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And so this is like a whole other field and degree of like, how good are you at knowing an audience and creating a target audience? So I used to work at Ludacris's company, Kid Nation, and I did their paid social ads. And if you ever want something horrible to watch, by the way, you can go check them out. It's Kid Nation on Instagram.
So
Um, And I know, no, that was really interesting because I got hired as an animator for their team. And then a month later, then got hired and promoted as their manager of all their education programs. And I was like, well, I am a teacher, that fits. But then I was overseeing a lot of their stuff. And one of the things was she's gonna let you in. Did she leave? Oh,
well, that's not.
thank you. Um, and so one of the things that you can do, hi, welcome, is create a very specific target audience and then also see who's interacting with your audience. So when I was doing it, we had about 40,000 followers. And obviously, kids are not allowed to be online scrolling through Instagram. So it's like, who are our 40,000 people that are interested in kids' music? Because his whole product was he has 4 girls and was tired of Baby Shark and was like, I'm going to make some culturally relevant music.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
I
Have you
just
seen
did
that?
student teaching at a first grade class over
Mhm.
the summer, and they all listen to that. And like it's very like culturally relevant, like in the same era as Baby Shark.
Yes.
That's crazy that you're involved with
Okay, no, so yes, I was like one of their top 3 people running that company for a hot minute. Um, and so okay, wait, side tangent really fast. It was great because they had a song that was popular, but then when they tried to put it in the school system, there was a lot of pushback, and it was called Science. And they're like, this is a great way to learn about science. And the lyrics were like, science. Let's talk about science. Yeah, science. And I was like, I don't think that you actually learn anything about science from the song. And as a teacher, I'm not sure where I would integrate this into my curriculum. And they were like, well, great, Diana, why don't you make a learning song? And I was like, okay, what do you want me to make a song about? And they said, we have one about science, do one about English. I was like, okay, for like little kids. And I was like, we could make like a sight word song. They're like, that sounds good. Make a sight word song. And so I like wrote out all the lyrics for learning like 5 basic sight words in a song. I used to teach elementary school, so I'm very good at like making songs about things. And I sent it over in a Google Doc. And his music producer is just like, this doesn't help me at all. I'm gonna need you to lay it down for me. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, I need you to rap a demo for me. And I was like, I was just trying to help out with some lyrics. And he's like, no, I'm gonna need you to just, it's only gonna be me and Chris and his agent listening. And I'm like, wait, Chris, like Ludacris? So I got to rap a demo for Ludacris to go and hear my really epic learning song. That was definitely a highlight moment in my career. They did, yes. So that might come out one day.
I
But back to this. So when we had to create ads, it was interesting because all of our songs are for very early children, like 4 to 6 years old. And so if we have 40,000 followers, we're assuming like mainly their parents. So then you do a parent demographic breakdown, and then you realize most of the people watching are women, and they tend to be between like 30 to 50 years old. They also tend to watch a lot of food videos. And so then we're running an ad campaign that is targeted for women in that demographic who are also into food. And if they're scrolling through and they see a food ad, they're also going to see one of our ads. So we like followed, everybody remember like Tasty, those Tasty downward shooting videos. So we would then follow it up with that and try to like pair wherever Tasty was running their ads, we would also run our ads. And so you can get really specific and you have to know what your audience is into. And sometimes it's random. Yeah.
sorry, like really quick tangent.
Yes.
Brought up Tasty, that's BuzzFeed. And
Yes.
so they right now in their they have a like deck that they give people when you shoot for Tasty.
Uh-huh.
They have a what to do and not to do. And the not to do section is features my content because I once made them a video and it was like just so poorly like because it was during quarantine. But they like without permission just added it in there. They're like, this is not how you like one of our videos. So to this day, I'm in the deck. I just can put that out there.
That's so harsh.
Yeah, it really was.
Oh. All right. So in terms of platforms and strategies, so these are all things that we are going to do for our video project today. So first question you are going to answer, and this is where I'd like open up a Google Doc or maybe jot down on a notepad if you have it. You're going to answer, what do you want to say? And so all of you are going to be making a social ad today in class. So first question I'm going to answer, and I'm going to say, I think that the Digital Lounge is a super cool space, and I don't think a lot of students know about it. So I want to just let people know where it is and kind of how you can take free Adobe classes and get certified. And so it's going to be Digital Lounge oriented. Second question is, how do I want to say it? So I want my video to be really fun, but also kind of casual and approachable, because I think that a lot of spaces on campus, if you haven't been there before, there is like a little bit of an intimidation factor of like going into a different space for the first time and being like, how do you interact with the people there? So maybe like filming the front desk person, looking friendly, showing that the space is accessible. Who do I want to say it to? So my video is going to be geared towards current USC students that have already been accepted. They're already on campus. Maybe they're looking for more resources and a cool space to work in. And then what kind of response am I hoping for? And so in mine, and this is like your big call to action. So what do you want people to do after watching your video? So I want people to come to the Digital Lounge, maybe sign up for a class, or at least come by, look at flyers and say hello. So I'm going to give you a moment and I want you to answer these four for the ad that you are going to create today. And it doesn't have to be about the Digital Lounge. It can be about anything. It could be like your next cat video, planning it out.
It's an ad we're making.
No, it's not an ad. Let me rephrase. It's going to be a video that you are sending out that has a message about something.
Does it have to be something? Because like I know mostly like video game content, so like maybe
Yeah.
I should shy away from that.
No, you could do video game content. So other than just like, this looks cool, what would you be saying about the game? Yeah, like one of my friends is a Twitch streamer and she plays well right now she's playing Zelda, the new one, newish one for Nintendo Switch.
Here's-
Yes. And so it has a big following of just like sitting there being like, oh no, here I go. And she's like not very good, but has lots of followers. That's Twitch. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I guess yes, because everybody like sends tears and hearts emojis as she's playing, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, how is this a thing? And she's like, I just made $300 this week from people tipping me. And I'm like, to play badly, like I should go on Twitch. Yes. Yes. Yeah. She's like, people like tip me like $20 because I'll play really badly. And then I'll be like really sad about it.
Yeah.
And then they'll tip me. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much, guys. Now I like feel better. And I'm gonna try the level again. What? Yes. So it could absolutely be something video game oriented. And so, like, if you're answering for that, what do you want to say? Look at me trying to accomplish something new in life. I want to say it by being cute and not really good at the game. I wanted to say it to people that might be interested and want to support my college tuition by tipping me. And I'm hoping that they're going to give me money because I'm just like adorable online and clearly need help because I'm sad constantly because I'm not good at playing. And I'm just like, you can create a whole business strategy just based around that.
I did like my things like Pokemon challenges, like me just playing Pokemon in different ways, like that just the normal way. Like $1,000 a month doing that.
Yes.
It's so easy. You just gotta know how to like play it.
Yes.
And you just like give them hope. Because a lot of people on Twitch watch because they are attracted to you.
Yes.
That's another thing.
I know. And that's the thing where I just feel like when she's online and she has like furry ears too.
Yep.
And then it's just like, oh no, you guys. And I'm just like, really? This is what we're doing? But like it works and it's like a whole thing. And then when we hang out, she's just like, no, I mean, it's great. I like made money and lunches on me. Like, that's definitely a strategy. All right, so I will shut up for a moment to give you quiet time to think. So think about what you want your video to be for today. And jot down some answers to these questions. Also, welcome. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Oh, amazing. Yes. Thank you for joining. And this is good because now I can like put a face to you too. All right, ideas. Anybody ready? Go for it.
Yeah, I wanna say there are no water bottle stations in this. And
Wait, really?
Really important.
That is important.
like there's no like water bottle.
Oh.
And there's no pressure to it. So
We gotta message Will.
Oh no.
They don't have it on the other.
Yeah, and it's hard to find.
And I want USC to see it and give the thirsty students water refill stations on every floor.
Yay, that's perfect and easily accomplishable because what we're aiming for is like a 15-second reel. So you could absolutely communicate that message in 15 seconds. All right. Anybody else ready?
So, it's one for my cat, so she likes matcha. And, since I'm in LA, so I want to show that she's a matcha girly and that she likes to dip her paw in the matcha. I wanna do it, aesthetically pleasing. And I want to reach other cat lovers and matcha lovers, to the audiences. And the kind of response that I want is to people to repost, but also like a long-term, kind of like hoping for would be maybe them tagging like, for example, I really like, Emma Chamberlain's matcha. So
Mhm.
like,
Yes, and then also like matcha tea companies, so then you could get free matcha. I think that's an excellent business idea. All right, so let's hear it.
Say that if your Fortnite skin is ugly, you deserve to lose the game. I want to say it aggressively and bluntly. I want to say it to those bitches with ugly Fortnite skins, and I'm hoping bad bitches agree with me and sweaty gamer boys are upset about it.
That is definitely going to trigger a high level of engagement.
Yeah.
Yes. And so like
I just feel if you're not a bad bitch in the game, you deserve to lose.
see, and then there you go. And like immediately just looking around the room, people are just like, oh God, we all felt very strongly.
Yes.
And sometimes, especially on threads, people will say things that they know people are gonna be like, oh, what? And so like that's a great example of that. Perfect. Yes. And your call to action could also be like pissing off the general percentage of the population. Yes, and I mean that's the thing that like then you're gonna get like more interaction and engagement on your site of just like balancing that with also positive content. Great. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Yes.
and, it's like the ones I did years ago.
Wait, what's the new band? I missed this.
Like now, the bigger plastic bags, you guys still allow, like, if you ask, they ask if fever, plastic, but then like starting in 2026, like with this new law, they'll like longer. It's gonna be paper bags.
Ew. Sorry, like I'm sorry. Like this has triggered me because I'm like yes, plastic bags are bad for the environment, but at the end of the day, the things that is causing all the pollution in the world is these companies dumping things into the ocean and stuff like that. Like it has nothing to do with the direct consumer. It's the same reason we ban straws, but like that is such a small, teeny tiny percentage, and paper straws are ass. And we all know
Okay, but now there's that like rice-based compostable straw.
they're better.
We have those at Oxy.
USC?
Beautiful ones are.
USC has
Yes.
plastic straws still.
Are they compostable plastic? Because they also have like sugar-based ones, they have plant-based ones.
All I'm saying is the plastic bags is not the actual solution. It's pretending that us everyday people are the problem and it's not giant mega corporations. I just want to put that out there.
So this is good. You've already triggered engagement.
Yes, I would be commenting.
Yes. Yeah, it should be because you want your opinion to strongly resonate with some people and also create discourse with others. So sorry, please continue. Okay, so at the end, when you're saying what kind of response, are you trying to educate people?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, what's your stance on the issue?
The upper class, rich people and like corporations that are like doing the most pollution. Like, this is just like addressing it start from the bottom, which may not be the best. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
All right, like it. Lillian, how are we doing? That's okay. That's okay. You'll still have some time to ideate. Are you thinking more about like doing something funny, something educational, something controversial, something cute? Okay. I'll give you some time to ideate. In the meantime, we are going to shoot some footage. So you are welcome to work by yourself, or if you want a partner or two people, you can get into like little teams if you have a similar idea. You're going to have 20 minutes to shoot whatever that idea is. And you can go outside the building. You can walk around, take pictures of walls and how there's no water thing in there. Could just be like blank wall after blank wall. So you're going to come up with an idea and film it. You, though, must include these three things in your video. One, a vertical selfie video that is going to introduce your topic. So this is where we're going to film ourselves and talk on camera. Step one. Step two, a cool transition shot. Okay, so we've all done transition shots. Who can give me some ideas of cool transition shots? Alexandra. Yay, very good. So all of these usually tend to like fill up the frame somehow and then it like cuts to something else. So like if we were setting that up, what would we need to do?
Myself, have someone walk fully in front of the camera one time, go somewhere else, have the person walking in the same direction, go fully in front of the camera again, and here I am.
Yes, perfect. No, so that's great. Of like being able to like fill it up, fill the frame. And then when we have the reveal, now we're in a new location. Great. What else? I'm gonna do the really common one where you're like looking at something and then you get really close. And then when you pull back, now you're like in another shot. So I need to go in and out of an object that is like similarly colored. Anybody else? Okay, so think about an opportunity for a cool transition shot. And lastly, you are going to shoot some horizontal B-roll. Who can tell me what B-roll is?
Read the voiceover while there's footage.
Perfect. Yes. So we don't have to have anybody talking. We're just going to shoot something that is relevant to our topic. And you are going to shoot this horizontally because we are going to talk about keyframing and scaling. All right. So come back at 8:35 with something shot. I will leave this up on the screen. And then we're going to dive into Premiere. So also in the meantime, make sure that you have Premiere downloaded so that we can like dive in. And then lastly, if you have an iPhone, super important. How many of you have shot on your iPhone, you put it in Premiere and it's super blown out? We don't want that. So to avoid that, we are going to click on settings. You are going to go to your camera. And then you are going to go to record video. Wait, is it there? Yes, that basically we are going to be turning off the high efficiency part. Let me just do a search in my settings.
With the pros and cons. Share a video.
Yeah, give me one. Okay, found it. So if you go to the formats on camera, there's high efficiency and there's most compatible. So we are going to select most compatible and not high efficiency. So if you go to formats under your camera, then click on formats and then don't do high efficiency, do most compatible. Yes, so go to settings. Are you on an iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go to settings, go to camera, go to format, and you're going to select most compatible. Okay, so we had a really good question. So first let me explain what that is. So high efficiency means that it is going to compress your video, and that way you can record high quality at a compressed format, meaning that you can store more of it on your phone at a time. And so your default setting on your iPhone will record everything in high efficiency so that you can have lots of video taking up very little space. The downside of that is that it is not recording it in a high quality where you can edit it well. And when you export it out of Premiere, it's going to be super blown out if you leave it in that mode. And so we're going to turn that off to maintain a full exposure range is basically what that's capturing. So then when we put it in Premiere, we can like color correct and play with the highlights and shadows.
It's just bigger files.
Yes, but higher quality and doesn't give you that washed out look. And then you were asking about, yes. And so HDR is good because it gives you, do you know what it stands for?
High definition.
That was a good guess though. High dynamic range. And so similar idea where you're recording shadows, midtones, and highlights on a more spread out scale. If you have something with a lot of motion, that's not going to be great because it captures a little bit slower and it's going to blur. But if you're capturing something where people aren't like running around back and forth, it captures a little bit more slowly, but it takes in a lot more data. So you can be in a really low light situation or a really bright situation, and it's going to like calculate and balance the range between the two as you're filming.
That's what HDR does.
Yes. So like if you're shooting like a landscape or something where like the bottom part has flowers that are in shadow and the sun is blowing out the sky, if you capture it in HDR, it will record a separate brightness for the sky and a separate brightness for the ground and then merge them together. So then you have like a fully well exposed lit portrait. But if you have somebody like running through that at the same time, they're going to be blurry because it can't capture that information like multiple times that quickly.
Good for like beautiful still shots.
Yes. Yeah.
But not
Like portraits,
not typically
landscapes.
social media videos.
No. Correct. Unless you're doing B-roll for social media video in like a flower field,
Yeah.
then you could HDR that.
6 frames per second, that was good for like.
If you're trying to do slow motion. So 24 and above is good for movement because our eyes are detecting around 16, but 24 looks filmic. If you're doing 60, that's going to look very kind of unnaturally smooth unless you're planning on slowing it down. So yes, good idea. For everybody, if you're planning on doing a slow motion shot, we have to shoot that at a faster frame rate. So that's where you'd either record slow-mo if your phone offers that, or change it to like 60 frames or higher. And then you can slow it down back to 24. All right. I know that I was talking for a while. So we'll say 840. Come back with your footage and then we will go into Premiere Pro. Yeah, it's really up to you. I was just saying anything that you have seen on social media that goes like for example, you can do one where you are passing by somebody and like right here, I've blocked out what the background's gonna be. And then you do the same thing in another location and then film the other side, and then you'll stitch them together so that as you cross in front of the person, it switches to the other shot. Or like I have one where I'm going to do like a zoom in, and then when I zoom out, it's something else. And then you've also seen ones where like people go like this and they like put their hand up to the camera and then come back to reveal something else. Or you can email your footage to your computer. And then once you have your footage on your computer, you are going to open up Premiere Pro.
In my defense of my long video, TikTok does allow 10 minutes. So
Oh, excellent. Though I don't know if I've ever watched a 10-minute TikTok video.
really? Oh,
I have a attention span of like 2 minutes max.
really? I love a good video essay that's like 7 hours long on YouTube. I will watch it over multiple days.
Oh no.
Oh, not you
Oh,
coming
no.
for me. Don't shame me. And I'm not the only one. They have millions of views.
No, I'm sure. Like TED Talks, for example.
Okay. Those are like 20 minutes.
I know. My friend sent me a reel this morning and I looked at it and it was like 5 minutes long. And I was like, I'm sorry. I will try to get the gist of this by scrubbing.
I'm never sending you any YouTube videos. You're gonna fuck up my algorithm for watch
No, it'll be like watched and completed watching.
time.
I'll watch it on like 3 times speed.
Amazing. It's a good class for sure.
Yes. All right. So we all have Premiere open.
How do we have a new project?
We are going to make a new project by clicking on New Project in the upper left. So for this project, we are going to start just with a blank workspace. So all we're going to do at the very top is give it a name. So I'm going to call this Cool Social Media. And make sure you know where you're saving it. So that project location, I'm going to choose location and I'm going to create a new folder for this. And for those of you using Premiere for the first time, in the import window, you can pre-click on different videos and that will start building your timeline. But I and most other editors don't really do that. We just hit create and that takes us into our editing mode.
Well, you can create a template.
Yes. Yeah, so over here, if you were creating, say, like all of your intro videos have the same thing like that, you can create a template and then save that.
So like you can make it so that way, like I don't have.
That would be like your beginning project will always have, like, you can put in your beginning video, your end video, and just have like blank space in the middle.
Okay. Could it be like, let's say I usually edit things for like TikTok and like it's one of those like things where it's like the gaming and then like a bubble with my head and this and that. Could I make it so that way it does that in advance?
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be such a time saver.
Yes. Like for all my videos, I actually have a whole starter project. So even not just a template, but I'll have stuff with all of my sound files saved so that I don't have to import them each time. Well, also talk to me right now because that might be a question other people have.
It's like, could I make it so that way, like, when I put it in like my new clips, like they're automatically like cropped the way I want them and stuff like that? Like, is that they need to make that? That would be really a game changer.
No, but when you put them in, they will auto crop to the size of your timeline.
Okay.
All right, so that your workspaces matches mine, I am going to be window, workspaces, and on editing to start.
Okay. All right, in a different project, but my old project timeline is still up.
Yes, so come up to the top and go to close all your projects. So if I go to file and I'm going to do close all other projects so that you only have your new one open.
Taking me a while to transport video.
Okay, that's okay. I'm going to go slowly in the beginning because I know that everybody is uploading and opening. So if you did it correctly, you should have a blank workspace like so. And this is where we are going to start talking about Premiere and importing stuff. But to start, once your stuff is on your computer, you're going to go to Import Media and you're going to bring in your files. Also from that window, if you want, you can also select it from Finder and you can drag and drop that into here as well. So while we're waiting for you to do that, I'm just going to play mine so that we can all see this magic. Let me share QuickTime instead. Don't laugh because I followed the same instructions as you, and there's also a selfie video. All right. Except this is what I was saying about filming so that it's not blown out. It's going to look a little bit blown out temporarily. All right, so here's my first one. Wait, nope, just kidding. Let's hit play on this one.
Have you checked out the Annenberg Digital Lounge? Come follow me.
Yay, exciting. And then we have this very cool Adobe certification video. Can be the second half of my cool transition. Then I have my first part of that transition. Look at that. You can already see how that's going to come together. And then lastly, this was actually shot in our previous class. Look at how friendly the digital lounge looks. And then I'm probably going to have to correct the exposure on that. So once you're finished with those, you are going to import them into Premiere Pro so that they are all stacked on the side. And we are going to start by labeling stuff. So as you're inputting, label them as you go. So I'm going to double click and then click once. And I'm going to say like this, for example, is the front desk. This is part 2 transition. So I'm double clicking on each clip to pop it open into the source window. On transition. Video.
Little things never been this organized in my life between naming things.
I know.
But now I do it.
Yay, good habit. See, this is good for when we have like a whole team share something. And then you're checking their projects and you're like, look, it's labeled. You can pass it back and forth between. Okay, so yes.
Put nothing on the import page. Just leave everything.
Well, aside from, we want to see the projects. So you can also just file this.
All right, and then once your footage is in there, we are not going to click and drag to make one of these into a timeline. We are going to create a sequence from scratch by going up to File, New, Sequence. And we are making one specifically for vertical video. So you'll notice in here we have a social section. File, New, Sequence. And if we were doing a reel, we are going to do a 9:16 portrait. And you'll notice all social media videos are at 30 frames per second. That's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. Yes, it'll convert it. Yes. So it depends on how quickly it can record onto the memory. So that's also like when you do broadcast video, if you stream something directly at 30, there's a like tiny bit of lag. So broadcast standard is 29.97. And that way it doesn't get off at the end of a 30-minute program. Otherwise, by the end of the day, the whole programming will be off by like 30 seconds or so. And then that's terrible for like people turning in at a certain time. And so same thing with your phone is that there's like a slight lag, and or if something is running in the background, it will slow down your frame rate like a tiny, tiny bit. So these I actually all shot at the same time. I always forget I can't zoom when I'm on Zoom, but you can see this is 30, 29.99. This was recorded with it set to 30, and it's just letting me know it wasn't able to do it. Also, because I got a text message at the same time, and so there's like a slight lag. And so I would just make sure when you're shooting, turn off everything else, like close all your other apps, and then also put it on Do Not Disturb.
So
Yes.
that 58.55.
Well, yes, if you're shooting in 60, that's already going to be very taxing on your phone, and it's not going to be able to do it consistently, but it will try. Yes. Yes. If you're like me, I have like 40 tabs currently open on my browser. So you also want to swipe up on a couple of those. All right. So we all have our media in. Has it been labeled? Great. So now we're going to go make that sequence. And we were talking about how we are making a vertical video. So under sequence presets, I'm coming down to social. And under social, I'm looking at social media portrait. And I'm going to click OK.
It's okay if we name it sequence 1.
Yeah, that's totally fine. All right. So if you did that, now you should have a timeline. Yeah. Yeah, I was just double clicking in this part. It gives you like a little blue button, or if you've imported stuff before, you can just double click again and pretend like there's still a button there. And then you can just click what you want, or you can open up Finder and you can drag and drop into this window as well. All right, so when I put stuff into my timeline, oftentimes it's going to ask me to resize because we can see even though I'm shooting vertical on my phone, this is a little bit skinnier over here. And so we're going to talk about resizing and stuff like that first. But firstly, I wanted to show you that text-based editing because this is one of the very cool features that if you do a lot of live streaming is very useful. So I used to live stream a lot for Adobe and would ramble on for like an hour or like 90 minutes at a time. And then they're like, and then, cut it down and edit it. There's nothing less exciting than editing yourself rambling for an hour. So this is what's cool. We're going to switch workspaces for a second. And I'm going to go to Window. And then workspaces. And then I'm going to open up text-based editing. And on my selfie video, we are going to look for something that has dialogue. So for example, on my B-roll, that does not have dialogue. Me talking, that has dialogue. And over here, I'm going to click on transcribe. And then I'll ask, is my language that I'm talking in English? What's cool is now we have added so many other languages. So for any of the other ones, you just download it from the cloud first, and then it will be able to analyze and transcribe it. But I have English installed, and then this is also cool. If you have more than one person talking at a time, it will label each person talking. as you're going. So I'm going to say no, don't separate speakers because it is just me. And then I'm going to click transcribe.
I mean,
Do you have the latest version of Premiere installed? Yes. Yeah, that's fine. You need to select a clip that has talking on it. And then if you double click, put it in the source window. Now you have to transcribe that. Okay. So window, and then at the top workspaces, and then the text space. Yeah, window. Oh, new magazine. Yeah, let's go to file. And then new. And then. And we're selecting. Okay, so I've double clicked and it even got me saying Annenberg, which I think is kind of cool because that's pretty obscure in their dictionary. So what's awesome about this is that in addition to checking out all the things that you're saying, if I took this clip and I put it in my timeline, firstly, when you put a clip in your timeline and it'll say, do you want to change the sequence to match the clip settings? You are going to say, no, keep the existing settings because that is what determines the size of your video. And we want ours very specifically to be that social media size that we made. So we don't want it to change to match the video. Does that make sense? All right. So in my timeline, I'm going to hit the plus button to zoom in a little bit. And you can see as I scrub through, it is scrubbing through this part up here as well with my little cursor. And you can edit now in your timeline or you can edit in your text. So if I didn't want it to say, come follow me, because I'm like, no, that's too cheesy. All I would do is like take out the part that says, come follow me. And look, when I highlight it, it shows me where it is in the timeline. But even cooler, when I press the delete key to take it out, it has edited and made a cut and removed that section in my timeline as well. So this is super useful if you were talking for a long time, especially if you are doing like a Twitch stream and you have tons and tons of dialogue and you're like, ooh, and then I forgot that I was still streaming and I rambled on for a long time. You can just scroll through your transcript, find it, highlight it, and then delete it. And it will make those edits. But even, yeah.
sorry, can you do it one more time?
Yeah. So I was saying, I first put my video in the timeline. And then I looked over at my transcript and I said, I don't want this part. So I highlighted, come follow me. And then I just pressed delete. And now it's taken out that section down here. So in addition to that, this is where we get even cooler. We can create captions from this as well. And we all know social media videos tend to be captioned. And so if I create captions, it will say, what do you want it to be? And these are standards. If you're exporting for like a movie screening or something like that, you also have standard caption files that you can create. I'm going to say subtitle default. And then under captioning preferences, you can also do, if you want it like single line, double lined, etc., apply a specific style. I'm not going to change any of that right now. I'm just going to create captions. And you can see it has already timed it out and added it in as I'm talking with the animation. And then from here, if I wanted to stylize this more, then I can, and we'll talk about working with our graphics panel in a moment. Yeah. So over here, I have my video selected and I was on transcript. I'm clicking on these three dots. And then I am going to create captions, which is not grayed out the first time you do it. When that happens, then over here, then we can go over to captions. Yep. And then I use the subtitle default. Did you make it already?
Is your clip in your? Yeah, make sure your clip is in your check. Otherwise, it won't have any place to put the subtitles. Yeah, no.
All right. So we are going to be doing lots of titling, but I just wanted to show you it from captions since we already have captions on here. If we wanted to change the style of this, if I double click on any of the captions, it's going to pop open my essential graphics panel. And so for those of you who are using Premiere for the first time, this is very similar to anything that you might use in like Google Docs or Microsoft Word. We have alignment, we have our font choices, we have our font size. And so looking at this, I can see this looks not great. It's very boring. And so instead of that, I can pick a different font. Like I'm a big fan of like Beba's New.
What did you click to get that?
I just double clicked on the caption.
Oh,
And then I can make this bigger. I can change the fill. I can change putting like a drop shadow behind it. Maybe instead I want to add an outline to my text. So that's a stroke. So you can really customize how your captions look after they've been generated already.
do you have to do that individually? for sure?
Nope. And so what's really cool about this is let's say that for all my videos, and I'm a big streamer, so I'm just going to be making these all the time. I want it to look like this. And I have made my text style and I'm like, all right, this is perfect. This is what I want every time that I have captions. And we can create a new style. So this little plus button over here allows you to create a style. And in addition to saving it to this project, I'm going to save it to local styles, which means later on when I make another project in Premiere, I can use the same thing. And I'm going to call it Diana's Captions. I click this little plus in this box right here on the right-hand side.
Who created that shadow clip?
So that's a stroke, and that's just a text outline. So my fill is white and my stroke outline is in black. Yeah. Yeah, did you double click on your caption?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can save that style to local styles even.
Yeah, so if you save it to local, that means it's saved to your computer, and then anything that you create in Premiere outside of this project, it will also be available for that.
So cool. Like, you're saving so much time for
Yes.
us. That's so good.
So it's not. And then you can, yeah.
Oh, does it not do profanity?
It doesn't transcribe profanity. Correct.
Can you make it or no?
You can, so once it's done, if you went over here and this, you're like, this was supposed to be something that was profane, you can just come in and type.
Well, it appeared in here, it just didn't appear on the screen. Like, I use the word bitches,
Uh-huh.
and it's here in the captioning, but it's not on my screen for some reason.
Oh, like you can see it here.
Yeah, but I can't.
Is
see
it in your transcript and not your captions?
So I'm like,
Yeah, I'm saying, is it here?
yeah.
Yeah, so you can manually add it in. That's a whole lot of censorship.
Yeah, they really censored me.
Yeah, so you can also, if you double click in your captions, you'll have the opportunity to like type it in, and there you go.
Oh no, it's
I
just
think
underneath.
two, yeah.
Okay, never mind.
It's just like, where did the rest of that go? Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Good over here. Yeah. Good. That we put some here and use that picture. Like you want them to be on the. Yeah, so you can like go in there and custom design. Like,
I want to.
like have those show up and then have that. Yeah, you can do that over here if you split the caption. Mhm. So like if you went over there and use your bridge. So that's. And then you cut it the way that you.
I don't want to make it so, okay, so like because mine was like I had to move it up so that way it had all the words. How do I make that for all of it?
You can change that as part of your style. So like right now, mine's aligned and you can see it's on the bottom in the middle. So you can change your zone to be like in the middle or on the top. And then you can also create an offset. So like if you want it to be down here,
Is that in a this
under align and transform.
And then these are your X and your Y coordinates. So you can also adjust like your Y to nudge it beyond.
and that'll do for all of them?
So that's going to be saved in your style. So once you're done putting your style together, and now we've called this Diana's captions, we are going to redefine the style and say, do it to all the captions on the track. And then we'll click OK. And now you can see it has been applied across the board. Yeah, so I was double clicking on this. I did my changes. This looks beautiful. And then this icon over here, this little arrow, redefine style. And then you can do it to all the captions. What a time saver. All right, so in the future, let's say that we had another project and then we are creating captions. When we go to create captions, down here where it says style, you now have one. And there's my Diana's captions. And now all my captions can start off looking cool. And now we have saved hours manually captioning things. So good. Questions on that part? All right, next couple big social media tips that will save so much time, and then I will give you some time to edit. Coming back to, let's go to my workspace and we're going to go to editing. So I know that many of you have used a video editor before, but I'm just going to do a quick demonstration of what we're doing. So when I have my part 1 digital lounge transition and I click and I drag and I drop that into my timeline, like so, you can see it's not at all the correct size. So basic overview of using transitions and moving things around inside Premiere. I'm going to double click to select that clip. It's going to pop open in my source window. I'm going to come over to my effect controls, and this is where I can find things like position and scale. And so for the digital lounge, I probably want people to be able to see the whole digital lounge word first. So I can either scale it up like this and change the position, and I'm just clicking and dragging right here. Or I can double click in this window as well, and I can like graphically make it bigger and reposition. So if I wanted to add some animation to this and maybe have it scroll across so it says Digital Lounge, I'm going to turn on my keyframe tracking. So you'll notice everything that has a stopwatch is able to be animated. And so if I turn it on for position and scale, it's now marked this place in time for position and scale. Then if I move my timeline forward, then I can make my change over here. And we'll say we are scrolling across. And if you want it to smoothly scroll across, then we can hold down Shift as we are scrolling. And I'm going to have it end there. So now if I play this back, it's going to tween between those 2 points. And then you can see that I do that really awkward zoom in walk with my phone towards the sign. So this is also where I would do a little bit of keyframing so that that's not as awkward, and I'm going to help myself out a little bit by scrolling forward again, making some kind of change. I'm going to bring up the scale and also just make sure I'm going more into that orange part. Like so. So now I have more of a and then you can also see that was a little painful. So we might make it a little bit faster going into that orange part. How do we make things faster in animation? You're kind of gesturing. What are you doing? We're going to just move the change closer together. So if I wanted to get here sooner, I would put this closer together. And that's going to make my zoom happen much faster. If I wanted my clip speed to go faster, that's where we could right click in here and you have a speed label. So if you were trying to do one where you were like, and suddenly we're at like 200% speed, then it would look like that. So far I have. Have you checked out the Annenberg Digital Lounge? Come follow me. And so you can see there, I'm probably going to work with my keyframe some more so that people can read the sign before we move over. But the idea here is that we are moving around a horizontal video in order to fit into a vertical space. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to show you 2 more things and then give you some time to work. So over here, this was already a vertical video. If I had something like my part 2 transition, that is a horizontal video and I wanted to make it into a vertical video, but I didn't want to do keyframing. I just wanted it to like AI kind of figure it out, scale it up better. There's an effect in here called auto reframe. So I'm getting into my effects by clicking on these 2 little arrows in the bottom left and coming over to my effects tab. And I'm going to type in reframe. And so there you can see transform, auto reframe. And to use something, I'm going to click, drag, and drop that onto my video. And you can see it has just figured out what it thinks is important in the scene, has zoomed in, and you'll see it has actually motion tracked moving around for me to try to keep that in the middle. So playing this back, it even knew to try to like find the person at the end and keep them in the frame and keep them centered. So it does really well with faces. So if you have any faces in the frame, they will always try to keep them in frame so that people's heads don't cut off. And so what it's doing, if I look at this clip and I go to my effect controls, you can see over here where it says auto keyframe. I always forget, I can't zoom. Okay, so if I click on analyze, it has gone through my clip, decided what's important. And then if you need to adjust the position further, you can do that manually. And then over here, it has reframe, how much is it scaling, and then whether or not it needs to rotate. And so what's cool about this is coming back to the beginning, we can see as it's going forward, it has analyzed it and it has done some motion tracking. If I've decided the motion tracking is bad and it's making people dizzy, you have the option of having the motion be slower or faster than it's currently moving. So if you're like, ooh, that was like not good. Faster motion is better at tracking and will keep the objects more in frame, but might be a little bit disorienting for people. Slower motion, sometimes people's heads will get cut off because it's not tracking quite as quickly, but it'll look a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, I came over here to effects and I typed in reframe and it's going to be listed under the folder called transform. And I just clicked, dragged, and then plopped that on top. All right, questions on that? Yes, so over here you have a little toggle animation adjust position. And so if I turn this on, I can come in and manually, like, let's say I wanted it more on her at this time. So at this point, that is scrolling across on the x-axis. And so this is your X and your Y again, or you can just double click and move this window around. And that creates a keyframe over here so that you are now going to be at this spot at this place in time. And you can go through and give it a couple of markers to follow. Questions on that? All right. So our last thing, if you wanted to add cool graphics, call to actions, things like that, you actually have a whole bunch of built-in ones inside of Premiere. So if I go to workspaces one more time and I come back to captions and graphics, this is kind of where we were before with our text-based editing, but browsing now from scratch, let's say that I wanted at the end to be like subscribe. You actually have a handful of different options for subscribe. Let's go to Adobe stock for subscribe. And we can click on free ones as well. And these are all ones that you can use in your timeline. So in addition to captions, these work very similarly. You would take it and put it into your timeline. And then it will download from the Creative Cloud. And now I have a cool subscribe button that I can modify. So just like our captions, we would double click and then you can change anything in here. So on my subscribe layer, I can change the font, text, etc. If I don't want the background to be red, I can change my text box and change the color to be like blue instead. If I want it to scale this up, I can scale. If I want to delete the play arrow, I can delete that. So all of these are very customizable, but you have a whole bank of different templates and graphics that you can use as well.
Because you have a billion.
I have a billion. Those were all actually downloaded just from here. So like I have lots that are like credits. I've downloaded quite a few of those. And so that's where I got like my glitch titles, stuff like that. And all the ones that you see on mine have come from the free category.
Really?
Yes. I refuse to pay for things unnecessarily.
But there are the ability to pay for it?
Yeah. So if I uncheck free, you'll see like this is a premium one. And you can preview it and you can even put it into your credits and then, or sorry, into your timeline. And then it will say that when you're ready to license it, then you'll go there and purchase a license to put it in your project.
How much are they?
It depends on what you're getting because it's a free marketplace. So people set their own prices to post their products. So like some of them are really cheap and are like $3 for a template. Some of them are like $20 for a template. And then some of them are like, well, it also depends on your license. So some of them that will say like commercial use $400.
Oh.
Yeah. It depends on which one you're getting. But if you do a lot of video editing, one website I would recommend is Envato Elements. If you haven't used that before, getting a monthly subscription to that or yearly is very good. I pay like $49 for the year and you have music, transitions, templates, sound effects. So not required for this project, but if you are looking for music, I'd also recommend my favorite music website to download stuff for videos from is Pixabay. So if you are trying to find some background cheery stuff, you'd go to pixabay.com, click on music, and we might do like social media. And then you can see here we have lots of different options, and you can sort by duration as well. And so once you find one, and we're like, yay, we love that. Yes. And then we can download, and then you would import this. And so I didn't even log in or anything. This is a totally free, royalty-free site. And then I would import that MP3 file the same way that I imported my video files. All right, so I'm going to give you some time to work. Once you are finished, you are going to export and put it onto our super cool Padlet. So if you haven't exported before, once you're finished, you're going to go to the very beginning, press I for in, go to the very end, press O for out, and you'll come to the export tab on the top. Going quickly through this part because I think most of you know how to export. And we're going to call this, I'm going to call mine social media, and put it on the desktop. When you are finished with your video, you are going to put it on our super cool Padlet for this class. And let me pull up our Padlet link. So I'm going to give you time to work and upload to our Padlet, but showing you first an idea of Premiere Pro and why this is cool. So we've done a little bit of an intro today. Also, if you've liked this, not too late, you can come to our Premiere Pro course in person tomorrow, and or on Zoom on Wednesdays. So if you are thinking about like, wow, I can do so much, it's so powerful, you are correct. It is a professional editor, and you can also do color grading, audio editing, VFX stuff, all in the same application. And it is included in your Adobe Creative Cloud subscription that you have as part of Annenberg. So I would take advantage of that. And again, tomorrow we're going to be in here at 7:45 till 9:45. And then on Wednesdays, it is from 6 to 8 on Zoom. So if you're interested, we're there for 10 weeks, and then you get certified, passing the test, of course, after. And then lastly, just a couple of remaining thoughts for social media. A lot of people burn out from social media pretty rapidly. So I put together some mental health tips for managing this. First thing, take a break. We all need a good social media break once in a while. And as you saw, people spend a quarter of the time online just like scrolling through social media. Don't let that be you. Make sure you're taking breaks. And my biggest tip is to use a scheduler. So there's actually a bunch of built-in free ones that you can use. Like Facebook has one built into it where you can post to Facebook and Instagram. I use Loomly, which is pictured on the right, but trying to like post content as a content creator and come up with content every other day or every day is exhausting. So what I do is every 2 or 3 weeks, I will schedule all of my posts of doing something cool, and I will just put it out there like I'm doing things. So I'll schedule one from like 2 weeks from now that will say like, oh, had such a great time at this party. And they're like, Diana, you went to that party like 2 weeks ago. Yes, I did. And I was not thinking about posting today, and it took care of itself. And now it looks like I'm always active and doing things, but really I'm just scheduling them. And the last thing is like use it proactively and build a community with it. Don't just have like you are putting things out. It's supposed to be a conversation. And so don't forget, like after you post, people, the goal is like to have some engagement. And I lied, that wasn't the last thing. Listen more than you talk. And I know a lot of people are just kind of thinking about this as like a one-way platform, but also this is where social media can get really toxic. So just That's my 2 cents. When you're online, listen more than you're doing talking. All right. So in terms of free resources, these are the things that we've gone over today in terms of like auto reframing, keyframing, adjusting the speed. Freeze framing you can also do through a speed adjustment if you make it 0. And then some titling and graphics. Some places that I like to go to get stock footage and stuff, Pexels.com is where I do a lot of my free stock videos. And we just looked at Pixabay. So that also has stock photos, but that's where you can get music and sound effects as well. So if you want to take a picture of that screen of just tools for yourself, you are welcome to. And then lastly, there's our Padlet. So now I'll give you some time to work. I know that some of you have a very hard out at 9:30, but I'm going to hang out till 9:45. And if you'd like to cut together your video and post it on your Padlet, we'll do a little screening at the end. Yay.
Oh, you're recording. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, you can split it the same way you do a video. Click on your razor blade tool, and then you're gonna click where you want it to be.
Oh.
And a split, and so it's gonna double it, and then you'll just delete what you don't want from them.
Ooh, okay. And then Command K is razor blade quickly.
C. Just C by itself.
Just see.
Yep.
There you go.
So like you still have to click.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
It's not like if I go, if I want to select and like, there you can do that.
No, I mean, you can, but I mean, like the razor blade tool by itself
Okay.
does not split things. Like in Premiere Rush or iMovie, when you like on it, it cuts it. Yeah. When you are on the razor blade tool, you just like change the tool. Try to use it.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So usually like when I'm editing, I'm right-handed and I'll leave my other hand on C and V.
Mm.
Because that's why they're right next to each other asking which one comes. So you're like C, V, and you're like.
What's V?
V goes back to the selection tool.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
So now you're professional.
Okay, you ate that.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you. And see you on Wednesday. Yeah. And now we have to.
And here's my very cool finished little Annenberg project.
Have you checked out the Annenberg Digital Lounge? Come follow me.
Yay. And
Water is important. This is a water bottle refill station, and you know what? USC Annenberg doesn't have them. They have this. Do better, USC.
that was so good. That was so good. I love it. That was like such a good, like sad little, the water just couldn't make it in. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming. I will see you on Wednesday. Do it.
So if I'm deleting the captions in there, how do I make it so that way then also the portion of the video that the caption was a part of
You're just gonna highlight the text,
is this?
like, so if you double click and then delete the text. Oh, you're on the captions. Do it on the transcript. So you
That's
would
why.
edit on the transcript before you generate
Yeah, you gotta,
captions.
gotta, gotta.
I have, actually, I think there needs to be-
Yeah. Yeah.
Because right now, like, I feel like personally, I have to fit it in very, like, very well, but it's not that.
Yes. So a couple things. You can edit the corner so it doesn't look like that.
This, right?
Yes, where it like sticks
it's
out
not-
on the side. No, the convert changes it from a straight anchor point to a curved anchor. And so in here, if you, yeah, so like if you on your stroke, click on the word stroke. So if you click on your word stroke, these are compliments. And so you can ground it instead of having that like. Yeah, so make sure that's 50%. Yeah. I think because the weight was really high. And it's more the cap. So let's see the cap. Yeah. So like if you move it up, so see how to change the cap to be relevant. Yeah. Yeah, and you're gonna select both the anchor points you want to.
I was. And
Yeah, so it doesn't look like you have one that's close on there. So you need another anchor point. You can do, yeah. So using your direct selection, you're gonna make a little box around it. Yep, that's one. Oh, you have a lot of anchor points.
I have done a little bit of the last year, but I've just been playing with it. I was really trying.
Okay, I'm gonna show you a quick way to clean it up quickly. So, because you know this is not how you should draw a circle.
I've been trying my hardest.
Yes, no, that's okay. I know it's hard to learn the first time. If you need a game to play, I'd recommend doing Bezier.ac. And it teaches you how to draw curves. But for right now, if you're trying to do
But that works.
yeah, it's Bezier for a Bezier curve. And then do method.ac. No, AC. Yes, and so this is what I teach my students of how to use the pen tool, and it takes you through step by step of like you click. So when you're doing straight lines, you're only clicking to create the anchor. When you click and drag, that sets a hand. So like you would, yeah, click, you let go, and then you click again, and the paths get drawn automatically. And so like on this one, when you hold down shift, it creates 45-degree increments that lock So it's good if you're trying to create like a straight line. And see, it won't let you continue because your point is a little off. And it won't let you go outside of the shape that you're turning. So you can, yeah. And then once you. And then so this one, that circle though. So like you can see when you create a curve, you're trying to do it in as few anchor points as possible. And when you click and you drag, do you remember tangents from that? So you're basically creating a straight line that the curve is curving against. So you're not drawing by clicking and dragging. Can I show you? Yeah. So you are, when you click, you're focused on the single point and you're setting how curvy the line's gonna go. So if I'm dragging in this direction and I'm dragging up, the path is gonna follow towards this. And so when I drag out, now it has a curve coming off of it instead of a straight line like before. And so here, now if I click and then I pull out, I'm setting how that curve is going. And I'm also saying curve coming off of that part as well. So it's going to continue this way and it's going to curve the same amount. Like that. So when you click, you're not letting go of the stand, you're begin and pulling. And that's what creates the curve. Yeah, so
leave it open.
yeah, if you wanted to. Yeah, so coming back to Illustrator, so like if you were trying to do like the wave, we would take your anchor point. And so like you can see when I just click and let go, that makes a straight line. If I click, and then right now it's a straight line, but if I click and then I pull, it has changed the side of the curve. And then on this side, it's also going to be the curve. If I want, so if I have to, so if I click and it's a curve, it's setting this to be a curve and it's setting the other side to curve. And if I didn't want it to curve, after you set the curve, you hold down the Option key and then you change how the next curve is going to be. So like, for example, if I then put it up here, it's going to curve up here and then my next curve is following. So that's how you can do waves. Okay, so let's say that you wanted to fix it really quickly for your boss. This is also, do you want to change the weight back to that? Or did you want to? Okay. Okay, so this is what I do. People ask me to draw fix something quickly. We're going to use your selection tool. And we're going to select the whole graphic plane. You're going to come to object and we're going to rasterize it. So that basically means we're going to combine everything and change it into one single graphic. So we'll rasterize and it doesn't have to be high. And say, okay. So if you look now, it's just a picture, it doesn't have to be. Then we're going to go to image trace. And we're going to say, create the black and white logo. And then from here, if you click this little panel, that's your image tracing panel. And you can see in here how many anchor points it does. So right now it has 280. That's so we can go do a lot less. So if we go to advanced, you can also see these are the three things that determine how many anchor points you have. So we can say that we don't want a lot of paths, and you can see it also will affect like the quality. So we want to find a good balance between like what it was originally and the graph that we're trying to. So the lower you go path fitting wise, the less accurate it fits. But you can also see it reduces the number of stuff. So you basically customize this to see like what is a good amount of art. Right. And then once you're finished, then you can come down here and then you can hit expand and that will add in all your inputs for you without you having to draw it guys.
And it takes it away from the image.
Yes, yeah. So you can do. And I'm going to show you one more. So we'll go back to your.
I've been trying.
No, that's okay. It's a hard thing to learn. The pen tool is probably the hardest. Okay, so like when we click on this, like this is, we don't have a lot. Yeah. Why did it look like you have so many icons?
Because I had been struggling in erasing the public life.
Okay, so so then see like how you have all these little dots. If you are like, that's too many, come to object, path, and then simplify. Okay. And then you can see here, it's now reduced. And then you can use this as a slider for how much it should be. So you can see the less you have, the less accurate it's gonna be. The more you have, the more accurate it's gonna be. And now you can see you went from like 20 to 6 minutes.
Yeah, because I tried using, what I did at some point is I tried using it for eraser. But it just kept drawing more stuff.
Yes, because if you use the eraser, it's a path eraser. As opposed to this, you actually want the knife tool to cut it. It's underneath, like if you click and pull. Yeah.
That's really crazy. I mean, Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that was amazing. Now I.
Yeah,
But how do you?
yeah.
But how do
So at what point do you want it to start? Yeah, so we're just gonna turn all the positions. And then we're going to. Yeah, but I'm saying like, where do you want the motion to stop? Yeah, thank you. Cute. Yeah, and then so now you're going to zoom in and you can, yeah, you can double click and zoom in. Also reposition. You need to slide it up to the. I think that at some point you can undo. So that's okay. Oh, yeah, like, cause these didn't stay. So now it's changed it on your whole video instead of just that last part. And then. And then now the back.
This is file size one.
Oh,
I'm just gonna put it on Google Drive with the link.
yeah, you could do that. I was gonna say, or when you export, just do a medium one instead of a large one. But yeah, either will work.
this part I wanted? I took it too long to put it up.
Yeah, so you can use your razor blade tool. And then that's what allows you to cut. So like you could like cut here and here and then.
Just easily cut the.
Yeah, so when you're on the tool, you're gonna cut. Yep, right there. Perfect, and then if you want to close the gap in an easy way, you can also do that. But you can click in the middle and press the.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that's too small.
Okay.
Yeah, it has 100 gigabyte size upload.
AUP
Limit.
medium was 170.